Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. How are you, Vaishnavi?
Fine Mataji, how are you?
You are joining after a long time.
Yes Mataji, after school started I could not get time.
Yeah. So hope you are doing good.
Yes Mataji, I'm fine.
Okay. We'll start with the pranam mantra.
Yes Mataji. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपाय कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी असत्यद्वेषकारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण माताजी।
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay. What we will do after some time, I think. Hare Krishna. Shramita, you also joined today?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Vaishnavi, you can leave, ma.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी।
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to have a. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
Mataji, it's visible.
Okay, okay. So, what exactly we are reading in this NOD? What we have discussed yesterday for the past few weeks? Can anybody see? I'll just give few minutes. I think. Prepare. Yeah. Yeah, I just created one breakout room. Please join and give your feedback. Okay, you discuss among yourself and come with one answer. Is it visible? Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah. Can somebody say what exactly you people have discussed?
Mataji, may I?
Yes, anybody, anyone.
Mataji, we have discussed about the things. How can one develop devotion in Krishna consciousness on Krishna, and about its most like a parent as a friend or dhasya rasa. Dhasya means a servant. So there are many ways about to develop a bhakti towards the Supreme Lord, and and the relationship with the gopis to Krishna, and how they expressed their devotion and love for Krishna. Mataji.
Anyone wanted to add?
Mataji, so we had also discussed in the breakout room that Krishna's associates who were of the same age and who were elder to him, how they used to love and care for him. And people who used to be with him had forgotten their position as a devotee with the Lord. That was the vibration that Krishna used to give. They used to think Krishna is just like them. For instance, in the Govardhana hill, Govardhana Leela, how one of his friends had offered help to Krishna to give rest to your left hand and hold the mountain in the right hand, and will keep the stick under the Govardhana hill. So if we were forgotten their actual position in front of the Lord, that is the devotion towards the Lord, towards him, I meant.
Yeah, friends, very close friends, intimate friends. I think a very range of friendship we have discussed, isn't it? Next,
Yes, Mother.
any other point anyone wants to say? Hare Krishna. Any other points? Okay, fine. We'll continue with today's class. Chapter 43, Parenthood. Yes, somebody can take a lead and start it.
Mataji, may I start up?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Parenthood. When ecstatic love develops into the relationship of parenthood and becomes steadily established, the relationship is called Vatsalya Rasa. The exhibition of this Vatsalya Rasa, standard of devotional service, can be found in the dealings of Krishna with his devotees who represent themselves as superior personalities like father, mother, and teacher. Learned scholars have described the impetus of parental love for Krishna existing in the elderly personalities who are in relation with him as follows. The supreme personality of Godhead, whose bodily complexion is just like a bluish, new grown lotus flower, whose body is very delicate and whose lotus eyes are surrounded by scattered hair, as black as whose body is very delicate and whose lotus eyes are surrounded by scattered hair as black as bees, was walking on the streets of Vrindavana when Mata Yashoda, the beloved wife of Nanda Maharaj, saw him. Immediately the milk began to flow from her breast, soaking her body. Some specific provocations for parental love for Krishna are listed in his blackish bodily hue, which is very attractive and pleasing to see. His all auspicious bodily features, his mildness, his sweet words, his simplicity, his shyness, his humility, his constant readiness to offer respect to the elderly, and his charity. All of these qualities are considered ecstatic provocations for parental love. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 8th chapter, verse 45, it is stated by Sukadeva Goswami that Mother Yashoda accepted Lord Krishna as her son, although he is accepted in the Vedas as the king of heaven, in the Upanishads as the impersonal Brahman, in philosophy as the supreme male, by the yogis as the super soul, and by the devotees as the supreme personality of God. Once Mother Yashoda addressed one of her friends in this way: Nanda Maharaja, the leader of the cowherd men, worshipped Lord Vishnu along with me, and as a result of this worship, Krishna has been saved from the clutches of Putana and other demons. The twin Arjuna trees were, of course, broken due to a strong wind, and although Krishna appeared to have lifted Govardhana hill along with Balarama, I think that Nanda Maharaj actually held the mountain. Otherwise, how could it have been possible for a little boy to live such a great hill? This is another example of ecstasy in parental love. This kind of parental love is generated in a devotee out of his conviction in love that he himself is superior to Krishna, and that without being taken care by such a devotee, Krishna could not possibly live. One devotee therefore prayed to the parents of Lord Krishna as follows: Let me take shelter of the elderly parental devotees of Lord Krishna. They are always anxious to serve Krishna and to maintain him, and they are always so kind to him. Let us offer all respectable obeisances unto them for being so kind to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the parent of the whole universe. There is a similar prayer by a Brahmana who says, Let others worship the Vedas and the Upanishads, and let others worship the Mahabharata if they are afraid of material existence and want to become liberated from that condition. But as far as I am concerned, I wish only to worship Maharaj Nanda, because the supreme absolute personality of Godhead Krishna is crawling in his courtyard as his own child. Following is a list of respectable personalities who enjoy parental affection towards Krishna. Mother Yasoda, the queen of Vraja. Maharaj Nanda, the king of Vraja. Mother Rohini, the mother of Balarama, all the elderly gopis whose sons were taken away by Lord Balarama. Devaki, the wife of
Lord
Vasudeva,
Brahma.
Lord Brahma. Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva, the other 15 wives of Vasudeva, Kunti, the mother of Arjuna, Vasudeva, the real father of Krishna, and Sandipani Muni, Krishna's teacher. All these are considered respectively elderly personalities which parental love for Krishna. This list is in order of superior importance, and thus we can see that Mother Yashoda and Maharaj Nanda are considered to be the supermost of all elderly personalities. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 9th chapter verse 3, Sukadeva Goswami gives Maharaj Parikshit a description of the form and beauty of Mother Yashoda. He says, "My dear king, the wide hips of Mother Yashoda were surrounded by silk and linen cloths, and her breasts were flowing with milk because of her affection. When she was churning butter and tightly holding the rope, the bangles on her hands and the earrings on her ears were moving, and from the nice decoration of her hair, the flowers were slackening and falling down. Due to her excessive labor, there were drops of perspiration on her face." There is another description of Mother Yashoda in a devotee's prayer. Let me be given protection by Mother Yashoda, whose curly hairs are bound with thread, whose hair is very brightly beautified by the vermilion placed in the part, and whose bodily frame rewrites all her ornaments. Her eyes are always engaged in seeing the face of Krishna, and thus they are always filled with tears. Her complexion, which resembles the bluish lotus flower, is enhanced in beauty by her dressing herself with many colorful garments. Let our merciful glance fall on all of us so that we may be protected by the clutches of Maya and smoothly progress in our devotional service. There is the following description of Mother Yashoda's affection for Krishna. After rising in the early morning, Mother Yashoda first of all offered her breast milk to Krishna, and then she began to chant various mantras for his protection. Then she would decorate his forehead very nicely and bind his arms with protective talismans. By all of these activities, it is definitely understood that she is the emblem of all the maternal affection for Krishna. The description of Nanda Maharaja's bodily features is as follows. The hairs on his head are generally black, but some of them are gray. His garments are of greenish color like the new grown leaves of the banyan tree. His belly is fatty, his complexion is exactly like the full moon, and he was beautiful mustache. When Krishna was a baby, one day he was walking in the courtyard, capturing his finger on his father. Because he could not walk steadily, he appeared to be almost falling down. While Nanda Maharaj was giving protection to his transcendental son in this way, all of a sudden there were drops of tears in his eyes, and he became overwhelmed with joy. Let us all of us offer our respective obeisances unto the lotus feet of King Nanda. Childhood age, childish dress, movements by the child, sweet words spoken by the child, nice smiling, and various forms of child display are considered provocations for increasing parental love for Krishna. The childhood ages of Krishna are divided into three periods: the beginning of Kaumara age, the middle of Kaumara age, and the end of Kaumara age. During the beginning and middle of the Kaumara age, Krishna's thighs are fatty and the inner part of his eyes are whitish. There are signs of teeth coming out, and he is very mild and gentle. He is described as follows. When Krishna had only three or four teeth coming out of his gums, his thighs were fatty. His body was very, very short, and he began to enhance the parental love of Nanda Maharaj and Mata Yashoda with the activities of the childish body. He was sometimes stepping with his legs again and again, sometimes crying, sometimes smiling, sometimes sucking his thumb, and sometimes lying down flat. These are some of the different activities of the child Krishna. When Krishna was lying down flat, sometimes sucking the toes of his feet, sometimes throwing his legs upward, sometimes crying, and sometimes smiling. Mother Yashoda, seeing her son in such pastimes, did not show any sign of restricting him, but rather began to watch her child with eagerness, enjoy these childhood pastimes. In the beginning of Krishna's Kaumara age, the nails of tigers were set in golden necklace about his neck. There was protective tilaka on his forehead, black mascara around his eyes, and silk thread around his face. These are the descriptions of Krishna's dress at the beginning of Kaumara age. When Nanda Maharaj saw the beauty of child Krishna, when tiger nails on his chest, a complexion like the new grown tamala tree, beautifully decorated tilaka made with cow's urine, arms decorations of nice silk thread, and silk cloths tied around his waist. When Nanda Maharaj saw his child like this, he never became satiated by the child's beauty. In the middle Kaumara age, the upper portion of Krishna's hair falls, and his eyes sometimes is covered with cloth around the lower part of his body, and sometimes he is completely naked. Sometimes he tries to walk, taking steps by step, and sometimes he talked very sweetly in broken language. These are some of the symptoms of his middle Kaumara age. He is thus described when Mother Yashoda once saw him in middle Kaumara age. His scattered hairs were touching his eyebrows and his eyes were restless. But he could not express his feelings with proper words. Still, when he was talking, his talk was so nice and sweet to hear. When Mother Yashoda looked at his little ears and saw him naked, trying to run very quickly with his little legs, she was merged into the ocean of nectar. Krishna's ornaments at this age are a pearl hanging from septum of his nose, butter on his lotus-like palms, and some small bells hanging from his waist. It is stated that when Mother Yashoda saw her child was moving, ringing the bells on his waist, smiling at her with a pearl between his nostrils, with with butter on his hands, she became wonderfully pleased to see her little child in that fashion.
Yeah,
When Krishna was
Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah, somebody else can continue from here.
Mataji, may I?
Yes.
While Krishna was in the middle of his Kaumara age, his waist became thinner, his chest became broader, and his head was decorated with curly, uh, curly hairs resembling.
The falling of a wings of a crow.
Yes, sorry, Mataji. I'll just come back again. His head was decorated with his curly hairs, resembling the falling of the wings of a crow. These wonderful features of Krishna's body never failed to astonish Mother Yashoda. At the end of his Kamara age, Krishna carried a small stick in his hand. His clothing was little longer, and he had a knot around his waist, resembling the hood of a snake. In that days, he used to take care of the calves near the house, and sometimes he played with cowherd boys of about the same age. He had a slender flute and a buffalo born bugle, and sometimes he played on a flute made from the leaves of trees. These are some of the symptoms of the end of Krishna's Kaumara age. When Krishna was a little grown up and was taking care of all the small calves, he would often go near the forest. And when he was a little bit late returning home, uh, Nanda Maharaja would immediately get up on the Chanda Shalika, a small shed built on the roof for getting a bird's eye view all around, and he would watch for him. Worrying about the late arrival of his little son, Nanda Maharaja would remain on the Shalika until he could indicate to his wife that Krishna, surrounded by his cowherd friends, was coming back with the calves. Nanda Maharaja would point out the peacock feather of his child's head and would inform his beloved wife how the child was pleasing his eyes. Mother Yashoda would then address Nanda Maharaja, see my dear sons, whose eyes are white, who has a turban on his head, a wrapper on his body, and leg belts that tinkle very sweetly on his feet. He is coming near along with his Surabhi calves, and just see how he is wandering upon the sacred land of Vrindavana. Similarly, Maharaja Nanda would address his wife, my dear Yashoda, just look at your offspring Krishna. See his blackish bodily luster, his eyes tinged with red color, his broad chest, and his nice golden necklace. How beautiful he looks. How he is increasing my transcendental bliss more and more. When Krishna, the beloved son of Nanda Maharaja, steps into his Kaishora age, although he becomes more beautiful, his parents still consider him to be in the Poganda age, even though he is between the ages of 10 and 15. When Krishna is in his Poganda age, some of his servants would accept him as being in the Kaishora age. When Krishna performs his childish pastimes, his general practice is to break the milk and yogurt pots, throw the yogurt in the courtyard, and steal the cream from the milk. Sometimes he breaks the churning rod and sometimes he throws butter on the fire. In this way, he increases the transcendental pleasure of his mother Yashoda. In this connection, Yashoda told her maid servant, just look at your Krishna, looking stealthily towards all sides and slowly stepping forward from the bushes. It appears that he is coming just to steal butter. Don't expose yourself, or he may understand that we are looking towards him. I want to enjoy the sight of his eyebrows moving in this cunning way, and I want to see his fearful eyes and beautiful face. And enjoying Krishna's attitude of stealing butter very steadily, Mother Yashoda experiences ecstasy of maternal love by smelling his head, sometimes patting his body with a hand, sometimes offering blessing, sometimes ordering him, sometimes gazing at him, sometimes maintaining him and sometimes giving him good instruction not to become a thief. Such activities are in maternal ecstatic love. An important point to be observed in this connection is that the childish propensity of stealing is there even in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore this potency is not artificial. However, in the spiritual relationship, there is no inability to the stealing propensity as this is in the material world. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 13th chapter, verse 33, Sukadeva Goswami tells King Parikshit, my dear king, as soon as the elderly gopis saw the sons coming, there was an inexpressible sign of parental love, and all of them became absorbed in affection. At first, they were planning to chastise their sons for stealing butter, but as soon as the sons came before their eyes, they lost all of their angry attitudes and became overwhelmed with affection. They began to embrace their sons and smell their heads. While doing this, they became almost mad after their children. In the childhood pastimes, all these cowherd boys joined with Krishna in stealing butter, but rather than become angry, Mother Yashoda became wet from the milk flowing out of her breast, out of her affection for Krishna. She began to smell Krishna's head repeatedly. The general activities of all mothers of the cowherd boys were to kiss them, to embrace them, to call them by their names, or sometimes to chastise them mildly for their stealing habits. These manifestations of parental love are called sattvika ecstasy, wherein manifestations of eight kinds of ecstatic symptoms are visible in full. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 13th chapter verse 22, Sukadeva Goswami tells King Parikshit, Mataji, could you go up? All the mothers of the cowherd boys were illusioned by the covering influence of the Yogamaya potency of the personality of Godhead, and as soon as they heard the flute playing of their boys, they immediately stood up and mentally embraced their sons who had been created by the direct internal potency of Krishna. Accepting them as their born sons, they lifted them into their arms and began to embrace them. Resting the children's bodies upon their own, the the emotions created by this incident were sweeter than nectar turned into palatable intoxicant, and the milk flowing out of their breast was immediately drunk up by the children. In the Lalita Madhava compiled by Rupa Goswami, Krishna is addressed as follows, my dear Krishna, when you are engaged in herding the animals, the dust caused by the hooves of the calves and cows covers your nice face and an artistic tilaka. You appear very dusty. But when you return home, the milk flowing out of the breast of your mother washes your face of its dust covering, and you appear to be purified by this milk, just as when the deity is washed during the performance of Abhisheka ceremony. It is the custom in the temples of the deities that if they have been some impure activities, the deities has to be washed. Mataji, could you go up? He was washed with milk. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he was washed by the milk from the breast of Mother Yashoda, which purified him from the dust covering. Sometimes the examples of Mother Yashoda becoming stunned in ecstasy. This was established and exhibited when she saw her son lifting over the hill. When Krishna was standing, raising the hill, Mother Yashoda hesitated to embrace him and became stunned. Is the dangerous position that Krishna had accepted by lifting the hill were tears to her eyes. With her eyes filled with tears, she could not see Krishna anymore because her throat was choked up by anxiety. She could not even instruct Krishna as to what he should do in that position. This is a symptom of becoming stunned in ecstatic love. Mother Yashoda sometimes enjoyed transcendental ecstasy in happiness when her child was saved from a dangerous situation, such as being attacked by Putana or some other demon. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 17th chapter, verse 19, Sukadeva Goswami says that Mother Yashoda felt very, very fortunate when she got her lost child. She immediately placed him on her lap and began to embrace him again and again. While she was thus embracing her son repeatedly, torrents of tears fell from her eyes and she was unable to express her transcendental joy. It is stated in the Vedagha Madhava of Srila Rupa Goswami, my dear Krishna, the touch of your mother is so pleasing and cooling that it surpasses the cooling capacity of the pulp of sandalwood and of bright moonshine mixed with the pulp of Ushiga root. Ushiga is a kind of root which when soaked with water has a very, very cooling effect. It is especially used in the scorching heat of the sun. The parental love of Mother Yashoda for Krishna steadily increases, and her love and ecstasy are sometimes described as intense affection and sometimes as overwhelming attachment. And the example of attachment for Krishna was with overwhelming affection is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 6th chapter, verse 43, where Sukadeva Goswami Maharaja Parikshit addresses Maharaja Parikshit in this way: My dear king, when magnanimous Nanda Maharaja returned from Mathura, he began to smell the head of his son and he was merged in the ecstasy of parental love. A similar statement is there in connection with Mother Yashoda when she was too anxious to hear the sound of Krishna's flute and expecting him back from the pasturing ground because she thought that it was getting very late. Her anxiety to hear the sound of Krishna's flute became double, and milk began to flow from her breast. In that connection, she was sometimes going within the house, sometimes coming out of the house. She was constantly looking to see if Krishna was coming back along the road. So when many very great sages were offering prayers to Lord Krishna, glorifying his activities, the Queen of Goloka, Mother Yashoda, entered the battlefield of Kurukshetra, wetting the lower part of her sari with the milk flowing from her breast. Mataji, could you explain this line?
See, this is all, what do you say, whenever, when you take the baby to a mother, there is not much signals required. Automatically, that maternal instinct will let the breast milk flow from the breast. Okay. Similarly, the more ecstasy you have towards your child, the more the breast That is the highest form of affection a mother is having to her, because she feels so much protected. She's so much loving and caring at that point of time. The moment you feed the baby onto the breast, automatically the milk comes. That is a reflex action, you know.
But what relation does it have with Kurukshetra? I didn't understand.
No. See, when many sages were offering prayers to Lord Krishna, glorifying his activities, when Mother Yashoda entered the battlefield of Kurukshetra, again the feeling, you know, because she's a mother, she felt the same feeling, like with the milk start flowing from her breast, and it has wet the lower part of her sari.
I didn't, but still, it's okay. I didn't understand it completely, but
See, it is such is the love of the mother. See, a child may be a magnanimous personality. He may be a great person, doing so many glorifying activities or whatever it may be. For a mother, a child is always affectionate. Whenever a mother see a child, such an emotions run out of her. Similar to like a newborn mother, a newborn baby's mother. What feeling they have? No similar feeling a mother will have towards the child. So here in context with Yashoda Mai, because we are talking about the parenthood, the affection what the 8 personalities have towards Krishna. So one of them is Mother Yashoda. Same feeling she had towards. See, everybody is seeing Lord Krishna as a Lord, and they are offering the prayers and but for the rasa in which she is a Vatsalya rasa. So every time she's having the same rasa towards Krishna. So even at the time when Krishna entered the Kurukshetra field also, she is having the same feeling.
so was she there in the Kurukshetra war field at a distance?
She is watching it. Maybe I don't know, but she may be seeing like a Divya Drushti from somewhere. She's seeing her son being there. So even the sight of that is making her body like react just like a newborn mother.
Okay.
Not
And
exactly like milk is flowing and all, I don't think, because medically it is not possible. But the feeling what you have as a newborn mother, that I can relate here emotionally.
okay, I'll
So this,
continue.
yeah, I think the next sentence is again this entrance of Mother Yashoda at Kurukshetra was not during the battle of Kurukshetra. At other times, Krishna went to Kurukshetra from his paternal home Dwaraka during the solar eclipse. And these times, the residents of Vrindavan also went to see him there. Got it? I think they
Yes,
have,
yes.
yeah. Hare Krishna.
Okay. When Krishna arrived at Kurukshetra on a pilgrimage, all the people assembled there began to say that Krishna, the son of Devaki, had arrived. At that time, Devaki, just like an affectionate mother, began to pat Krishna's face, and again, when people cried that Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, had come, both King Nanda and Mother Yashoda became overwhelmed with affection and expressed their great pleasure. When Mother Yashoda, the queen of Gokula, was going to see her son Krishna at Kurukshetra, one of her friends addressed her thus: "My dear queen, the milk flowing out of your breast fountain has already whitened the river Ganges, and the tears flowing from your eyes mixed with black mascara have already blackened the color of Yamuna. As you are standing just between the two rivers, I think that there is no need for your anxiety to see your son's face. Your parental affection has already been exhibited to him by these two rivers." The same friend of Mother Yashoda addressed Krishna as follows: "My dear Mukunda, if Mother Yashoda, the queen of Gokula, is forced to stand on fire but is allowed to see your lotus face, then this fire will appear to be like the Himalaya mountains, full of ice. In the same way, if she is allowed to stay in the ocean of nectar but is not allowed to see that the lotus face of your grace, if then even this ocean of nectar will appear to her like a notion of arsenic poison. Let the anxiety of Mother Yashoda of Gaja, always expecting to see the lotus face of Krishna, be glorified all over the universe. A similar statement was given by Kunti Devi to Akrura. My dear brother Akrura, my nephew Mukunda is long absent from us. Will you kindly tell him that this Aunt Kunti is sitting among the enemy and would like to know when she will be able to see his lotus face again?
Hare Krishna Racheta. We'll ask somebody to read.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
I read.
Yes, certainly. Yes, ma, please continue.
Mataji, should I continue?
No, I think somebody else will read. Saujanya, you can continue.
Yes, Mata. Sorry, Mataji, I forgot to unmute. I was reading. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 46th chapter verse 28, there is this statement, when Uddhava was present at Vrindavana and was narrating the activities of Krishna in Dwaraka, Mother Yashoda, while hearing this narration, began to pour milk from her breast and shed tears from her eyes. Another incident demonstrating Yashoda's extreme love for Krishna occurred when Krishna went to Mathura, the kingdom of Kamsa. In separation from Krishna, Mother Yashoda was looking at Krishna's makeup utensils and she fell down on the ground almost unconscious with a great sound. When she was rolling over on the ground, there were many scratches on her body, and in that piteous condition, she began to cry. Oh, my dear son, and she slapped her breast with her two hands. This activity of Mother Yashoda is explained by expert devotees as ecstatic love in separation. Sometimes there are many other symptoms such as great anxiety, lamentation, frustration, being stunned, humility, restlessness, madness, and illusion. As far as Mother Yashoda's anxieties are concerned, when Krishna was out of the house in the pasturing ground, a devotee once told her, Yashoda, I think your movements have been slackened, and I see that you are full of anxieties. Your two eyes appear to be without any movement, and I feel in your breathing a kind of warmth, which is bringing your breast milk to the boiling point. All these conditions prove that, out of separation from your son, you have a severe headache. There are some of the symptoms of the mother Yashoda's anxiety for Krishna. When Akrura was present in Vrindavana and was narrating the activities of Krishna in Dwaraka, Mother Yashoda was informed that Krishna had married so many queens and was very busy there in his household affairs. Hearing this, Mother Yashoda lamented how unfortunate she was that she could not get her son married just after he passed his Kaishora age, and that she therefore could not receive both her son and daughter in law at her home. She exclaimed, My dear Akrura, you are simply throwing thunderbolts on my head. There are signs of lamentation on the part of Mother Yashoda in separation from Krishna. Similarly, Mother Yashoda felt frustration when she thought, although I have millions of cows, the milk of these cows could not satisfy Krishna. Therefore, let a curse be on this milk. And I also am condemned, because although I am so opulent in material prosperity, I am now unable to smell the head of my child and feed him with my breast milk as I used to do when he was here in Vrindavana. This is a sign of frustration on the part of the Mother Yashoda in separation from Krishna. One friend of Krishna addressed him thus, My dear lotus eyed one, when you were living in Gokula, you were always bearing a stick in your hand. That stick is now lying idle in the house of Mother Yashoda, and whenever she sees it, she becomes motionless just like the stick. This is a sign of becoming stunned in separation from Krishna. In separation from Krishna, Mother Yashoda became so humble that she prayed to the creator of the universe, Lord Brahma, with tears in her eyes, My dear creator, won't you kindly bring my dear son Krishna back to me so that I can see him at least for a moment? Sometimes, in restlessness, like a mad woman, Mother Yashoda used to accuse Nanda Maharaja. What are you doing in the palace? You shameless man. Why do people call you the king of Raja? It is very astonishing that while being separated from your dear son Krishna, you are still living within Vrindavana as a hard-hearted father. Someone informed Krishna about the madness of Mother Yashoda in the following words. In madness, Mother Yashoda has addressed the Kadamba trees and inquired from them, Where is my son? Similarly, she has addressed the birds and the drones and inquired from them whether Krishna has passed before them, and she has inquired if they can say anything about you. In this way, Mother Yashoda in illusion was asking everybody about you, and she has been wandering all over Vrindavana. This is madness in separation from Krishna. When Nanda Maharaja was accused by Mother Yashoda of being hard-hearted, he replied, My dear Yashoda, Why are you becoming so agitated? Kindly look more carefully. Just see your Krishna is standing before you. Don't become a mad woman like this. Please keep my home peaceful." And Krishna was informed by some friend that his father Nanda was also in illusion in this way in separation from him. When all the wives of Vasudeva were present in the arena of Kamsa, they saw the most pleasing bodily features of Krishna, and immediately out of parental affection, milk began to flow from their breasts, and the lower parts of their saris became wet. This symptom is of ecstatic love is an example of the result of fulfillment of the desire. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th chapter, verse 29, it is stated, when Krishna entered Dwaraka after finishing the battle of Kurukshetra, he first of all saw his mother and all his all his different stepmothers and offered his respectful obeisances unto their feet. The mothers immediately took Krishna up upon their laps, and because of their parental affection, there was milk flowing out of their breasts. So the breast milk mixed with the water of tears became the first offering to Krishna. This is one of the examples of being satisfied after a great separation. There is a similar statement in the Lalita Madhava. How wonderful is that Yashoda, the wife of King Nanda, out of her parental affection for Krishna, mixed her tears and the milk from her breast, and thus bathed her son Krishna. In Vigata Madhava, a devotee addresses Lord Krishna as follows: My dear Mukunda, just after seeing your face, which was full with the scent of lotus flower, Mother Yashoda, being attracted by the moonlight of your face, became so overjoyed in her affection that immediately from the nipples of her water pot like breast, milk began to flow. She was thus constantly engaged in supplying milk to Krishna after wetting the covering cloth over the jug. There are some of the signs of the parental love for Krishna by his mother, his father, and elderly persons. Symptoms of ecstatic love in parental affection are expressed when Krishna is accepted as the son. These constant transcendental emotions for Krishna are called steady ecstasy in parental love. Srila Rupa Goswami states herein that, according to some learned scholars, the three kinds of transcendental mellow so far described, namely servitude, fraternity, and parental affection, are sometimes mixed. For example, the fraternal feelings of Balarama are mixed with the servitude and parental affection. Similarly, King Yudhishthira's attraction for Krishna is also mixed with parental affection and servitude. Similarly, the transcendental mellow of Ugrasena, Krishna's grandfather, is mixed with servitude and parental affection. The affection of all the elderly gopis in Vrindavana is a mixture of parental love, servitude, and fraternity. The affection of the sons of Madri, Nakula, and Sahadeva, as well as the affection of the sage Narada, is a mixture of friendship and servitude. The affection of Lord Shiva, Garuda, and Uddhava is a mixture of servitude and fraternity. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Shall I continue or anyone will read Mataji?
I think you can read 2 paragraphs.
Okay, Mataji. Devotional service in conjugal love. A pure devotee's attraction to Krishna in conjugal love is called devotional service in conjugal love. Although such conjugal feelings are not all material, there is some similarity between the spiritual love and material activities. Therefore, persons who are interested only in material activities are unable to understand the spiritual conjugal love, and these devotional reciprocations appear very mysterious to them. Rupa Goswami therefore describes conjugal love very briefly. The impetuses of conjugal love are Krishna and his very dear consorts, such as Radharani and her immediate associates. Lord Krishna has no rival, no one is equal to him, and no one is greater than him. His beauty is also without any rival, and because he excels all others in the pastimes of conjugal love, he is the original object of all the conjugal love. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Somebody can start reading from here. Vaishnavi, are you there?
Mataji, may I read
Yes,
this line?
Mataji.
Yeah, Vaishnavi, please start.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. In the Gita Govinda by Jayadeva Goswami, one gopi tells her friend, Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure within this universe. His body is as soft as the lotus flower, and his free behavior with the gopis, which appear exactly like a young boy's attraction to a young girl, is a subject matter of transcendental conjugal love. A pure devotee follows in the footsteps of the gopis and worships the gopis as follows. Let me offer my respectful obeisances to all the young cowherd girls whose bodily features are so attractive. Simply by simply by their beautiful attractive features, they are worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Out of all the young gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most prominent. The beauty of Srimati Radharani is described as follows. Her eyes defeat the attractive features of the eyes of the Chakori bird. When one sees the face of Radharani, he immediately hates the beauty of the moon. Her bodily complexion defeats the beauty of gold. Thus, let us all look upon the transcendental beauty of Srimati Radharani. Krishna's attraction for Radharani is described by Krishna himself thus. When I create some joking phrases in order to enjoy the beauty of Radharani, Radharani hears these joking words with great attention. But by her bodily features and counter words, she neglects me, and I even possess unlimited pleasure by her neglect of me. For she becomes so beautiful that she increases my pleasure 100 times. A similar statement can be found in Gita Govinda, wherein it is said that when the enemy of Kamsa, Sri Krishna, embraces Srimati Radharani, he immediately becomes entangled in a loving condition and gives up the company of all other gopis. In the Padyavali of Rupa Goswami, it is stated that when the gopis hear the sound of Krishna's flute, they immediately forget all rebukes offered by the elderly members of the family. They forget their defamation and the harsh behavior of their parents. Their only thought is to go out in search of Krishna. When the gopis meet Krishna, the display of their exchanging glances as well as their joking and laughing behavior is called anubhava or sub-ecstasy in conjugal love. In the Lalita Madhava, Rupa Goswami explains that the movement of Krishna's eyebrows are just like the Yamuna, and that the smiling of Radharani is just like the moonshine. When the Yamuna and the moonshine come in contact on the bank of the river, the water tastes just like nectar, and drinking it gives great satisfaction. It is as cooling as piles of snow. Similarly, in the Padyavali, one constant companion of Radharani says, "My dear moon-faced Radharani, your whole body appears very content. Yet there are no signs of tears in your eyes. Your speech is faltering, and your chest is also heavy. But all these signs I can understand that you must have heard the blowing of Krishna's flute, and as a result of this, your heart is now melting." In the same Padyavali, there is the following description, which is taken as a sign of frustration in conjugal love. Srimati Radharani said, "Dear Mr. Cupid, please do not excite me by throwing your arrows at my body. Dear Mr. Air, please do not arouse me with the fragrance of the flowers. I am now bereft of Krishna's loving attitude, and so, under the circumstances, what is the use of my sustaining this useless body? There is no need for such a body by any living entity." This is a sign of frustration in ecstatic love for Krishna. Similarly, in the Danakeli Kaumudi, Srimati Radharani pointing to Krishna says, "This clever boy of the forest has the beauty of a bluish lotus flower, and he can attract all the young girls of the universe. Now, after giving me a taste of his transcendental body, he has enthused me, and it is more than I can tolerate. I am now feeling like a female elephant who has been enthused by a male elephant. This is an instance of jubilation in ecstatic love with Krishna. The steady ecstasy of conjugal love is the original cause of bodily enjoyment. In the Padyavali, this original cause of union is described when Radharani tells one of her constant companions, "My dear friend, who is this boy whose eyelids, dancing constantly, have increased the beauty of his face and attracted my desire for conjugal love? His ears are decorated with buds of Ashoka flower, and he has dressed himself in yellow robes. By the sound of his flute, this boy has already made me impatient." The conjugal love of Radha Krishna is never disturbed by any personal consideration. The undisturbed nature of the conjugal love between Radha and Krishna is described thus. Just a little distance away from Krishna was Mother Yashoda, and Krishna was surrounded by all of his friends. In front of his eyes was Chandravali, and At the same moment, on the chunk of stone in front of the entrance to Vraja stood the demon named Vrishasura. But even in such circumstances, when Krishna saw Radharani standing just behind a bush of many creepers, immediately his beautiful eyebrows moved just like lightning towards her. Another instance is described as follows. Oh, on one side of the courtyard, the dead body of Shankasura was lying, surrounded by many jackals. On the other side were many learned brahmanas who were all self-controlled. They were offering nice prayers which were as soothing as the cool breeze in summer. In front of Krishna, Lord Baldeva was standing, causing a cooling effect. But even amid all these different circumstances of soothing and disturbing effects, the lotus flower of ecstatic conjugal love that Krishna felt for Radharani could not wither. This love of Krishna for Radharani is often compared to a blooming lotus. The only difference is that Krishna's love remains ever increasingly beautiful. Conjugal love is divided into two portions, Vipralambha or conjugal love in separation and Sambhoga or conjugal love in direct contact. Vipralambha separation has three subdivisions known as Purvaraga or preliminary attraction, Mana or steaming anger. Can you scroll? Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Can you scroll, Mataji? Okay. And Pravasa or separation by distance. When the lover and the beloved have a distinct feeling of not meeting each other, that stage is called Purvaraga or preliminary attraction. In Padyavali, Radharani told her companion, "My dear friend, I was just going to the bank of Yamuna, and all of a sudden, a very nice boy, whose complexion is like a dark blue cloud, became visible in front of my eyes. He glanced over me in a way that I cannot describe. But since this has occurred, I am sorry that I can no longer engage my mind in the duties of my household affairs. This is an instance of Prahlad Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 53rd chapter, verse 2, Krishna told the messenger Brahmana who came from Rukmini, "My dear Brahmana, just like Rukmini, I cannot sleep at night, and my mind is always fixed on her. I know that her brother Rukmi is against me, and that, due to his persuasion, my marriage with her has been cancelled. This is another instance of preliminary attraction. As far as mana or anger is concerned, there is the following incident from the Gita Govinda. When Srimati Radharani saw Krishna enjoying himself in the company of several other gopis, she became a little jealous because her special prestige was being deemed. Therefore, she immediately left the scene and took shelter in a nice flower bush where the dark drones were humming. Where the black drones were humming. Then, hiding herself behind the creepers, she began to express her sorrow to one of her consorts. This is an instance of seeming disagreement, an example of pravasa or being out of contact because of living in distant places is given in the Padyavali as follows. Since the auspicious day when Krishna left for Mathura, Srimati Radharani has been pressing her head on one of her hands and constantly shedding tears. Her face is always wet now, and therefore there is no chance of her sleeping even for a moment. When the face becomes wet, the sleeping tendency is immediately removed. So, when Radharani was always weeping for Krishna because of his separation, there was no chance of her getting any sleep for herself. In the Prahlada Samhita, Uddhava says the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, panic-stricken due to being pierced by the arrows of Cupid, is always thinking of you, the gopis, and he is not even accepting his regular lunch, nor is he getting any proper rest. When the lover and the beloved come together and enjoy one another with direct contact, this stage is called Sambhoga. There is a statement in the Padyavali as follows: Krishna embraced Srimati Radharani in such an expert manner that he appeared to be celebrating the dancing ceremony of the peacocks. Sri Rupa Goswami thus ends the fifth wave of his ocean of nectar of devotion. He offers his respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared as Gopala, the eternal form of the Lord. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta summary study of the third division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in the matter of the fifth of the five primary relationships with Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Next is laughing ecstasy. Okay. Yes, Shramita, you can start.
Yes, ma'am. Laughing ecstasy. In the fourth division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami has described 7 kinds of indirect ecstasies of devotional service, such as laughing, astonishment, chivalry, compassion, anger, dread, and ghastliness. In this portion, Srila Rupa Goswami further describes these ecstasies of devotional feelings, some being compatible and others incompatible with one another. When one kind of ecstatic devotional service overlaps with another in a conflicting way, this state of affairs is called rasa bhasa, or a perverted presentation of mellow. Expert learned scholars say that laughing is generally found among youngsters or in the combination of old persons and young children. This ecstatic loving laughing is sometimes also found in persons who are very grave by nature. Once an old mendicant approached the door of Mother Yashoda's house, and Krishna told Yashoda, "My dear mother, I do not wish to go near this skinny villain. If I go there, he might put me within his begging bag and take me away from you." In this way, the wonderful child Krishna began to look at his mother, while the mendicant who was standing at the door tried to hide his smiling face, although he could not do so. He immediately expressed his smiling. In this instance, Krishna himself is the object of laughing affair. Once one of Krishna's friends informed him, "My dear Krishna, if you will open your mouth, then I shall give you one nice sugar candy mixed with yogurt." Krishna immediately opened his mouth, but instead of giving him sugar candy with yogurt, his friend dropped the flower into his mouth. After tasting the flower, Krishna turned his mouth in a disfigured way, and upon seeing this, all his friends standing there began to laugh very loudly. Once a palmist came to the house of Nanda Maharaja, and Nanda Maharaja asked him, "My dear sage, will you kindly check the hand of my child Krishna? Tell me how many years he will live and whether he will become the master of thousands of cows." Upon hearing this, the palmist began to smile, and Nanda Maharaja asked him, "My dear sir, why are you laughing, and why are you covering your face?" In such a laughing ecstasy of love, Krishna or matters pertaining to Krishna as the cause of the laughter. In such laughing devotional service, there are symptoms of jubilation, laziness, concealed feelings, and similar other seemingly disturbing elements. According to Srila Rupa Goswami's calculation, laughter and ecstatic love can be broken down into 6 divisions. These divisions, according to different degrees of smiling, are called in the Sanskrit language Smita, Hasita, Vihasita, Avahasita, Apahasita, and Atihasita. These 6 classes of smiling can be classified as major and minor. The major division includes Smita, Hasita, and Vihasita smiling, and the minor divisions include Avahasita, Apahasita, and Atihasita smiling. When one is smiling but his teeth are not visible, one can distinctly mark a definite change in the eyes and in the cheeks. This is called Smita smiling. Once, when Krishna was stealing yogurt, Gujarati, the head mistress of the house, could detect his activities, and he was therefore coming very hurriedly to catch him. At that time, Krishna became very much afraid of Gujarati, and went to his elder brother Baladeva. He said, "My dear brother, I have stolen yogurt. Just see, Jagati is coming hurriedly to catch me." When Krishna was thus seeking the shelter of Baladeva because he was being chased by Jagati, all the great sages in the heavenly planets began to smile. This smiling is called Smita smiling. Smiling in which the teeth are slightly visible is called Hasita smiling. One day, Abhimanyu, the so-called husband of Radharani, was returning home, and at that time he could not see that Krishna was there in the house. Krishna immediately changed his dress to look exactly like Abhimanyu and approached Abhimanyu's mother, Jatila, addressing her thus: "My dear mother, I am your real son Abhimanyu. But just see, Krishna dressed up like me is coming before you." Jatila, the mother of Abhimanyu, immediately believed that Krishna was her own son and thus became very angry at her real son who was coming home. She began to drive away her real son who was crying, "Mother, mother, what are you doing?" Seeing this incident, all the girlfriends of Radharani who were present there began to smile, and a portion of the teeth was visible. This is an instance of Hasita smiling. When the teeth are distinctly visible in a smile, that is called Vihasita. One day, when Krishna was engaged in stealing butter and yogurt in the house of Jatila, he assured his friends, "My dear friends, I know that this old lady is now sleeping very profoundly because she is breathing very deeply. Let us silently steal butter and yogurt without making any disturbance." But the old lady Jatila was not sleeping, so she could not contain her smiling, and her teeth immediately became distinctly visible. This is an instance of Vihasita smiling. In a state of smiling, when the nose becomes puffed and the eyes squint, the smiling is called Avahasita. Once early in the morning, when Krishna returned home after performing his dasa dance, Mother Yashoda looked upon Krishna's face and addressed him thus: "My dear son, why do your eyes look like they have been smeared with some oxide? Have you dressed yourself with the blue garments of Baladeva?" When Mother Yashoda was addressing Krishna in that way, a girlfriend who was nearby began to smile with a puffed nose and squinting eyes. This is an instance of Avahasita smiling. The gopi knew that Krishna had been enjoying the rasa dance and that Mother Yashoda could not detect her son's activities or understand how he had become covered with the gopi's makeup. Her smiling was in the Avahasita feature. When tears from the eyes are added to the smiling and the shoulders are shaking, the smile is called Apahasita. When child Krishna was dancing in response to the singing of old maid servant Jarati, Narada was astonished. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who controls all the movements of great demigods like Brahma, was now dancing to the indications of an old maidservant. Seeing this one, Narada also began to dance, and his shoulders trembled and his eyes moved. Due to his smiling, his teeth became visible, and on account of the glaring effulgence of his teeth, the clouds in the sky turned silver. When a smiling person claps his hands and leaps in the air, the smiling expression changes into Atihasita or overwhelming laughter. An example of Atihasita was manifested in the following incident. Krishna once addressed Jarati thus: "My dear good woman, the skin of your face is now slackened, and so your face exactly resembles a monkey. As such, the king of the monkeys, Bali Mukha, has selected you as his worthy wife." While Krishna was teasing Jarati in this way, she replied that she was certainly aware of the fact that the king of the monkeys was trying to marry her, but she had already taken shelter of Krishna, the killer of many powerful demons, and therefore she had already decided to marry Krishna instead of the king of monkeys. On hearing this sarcastic reply by the talkative Jarati, all the cowherd girls present there began to laugh very loudly and clap their hands. This laughter, accompanied by the clapping of hands, is called Atihasta. Sometimes there are indirect sarcastic remarks that also create Atihasita circumstances. An example of one such remark is a statement which was made by one of the cowherd girls to Kutila, the daughter of Jatila and sister of Abhimanyu, the so-called husband of Radharani. Indirectly, Kutila was insulted by the following statement: "My dear Kutila, the daughter of Jatila, your breasts are as long as string beans, simply dry and long. Your nose is so gorgeous that it defies the beauty of of the noses of dogs, and your eyes are more beautiful than the eyes of dogs. Your lips defy the flaming cinders of fire, and your abdomen is as beautiful as a big drum. Therefore, my dear beautiful Pratila, you are the most beautiful of all the cowherd girls of Vrindavana, and therefore your extraordinary beauty. I think you must be beyond the attraction of the sweet blowing of Krishna's flute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Very interesting, no? Different types of. Okay. Yeah, who is going to sing Narsimhati today?
Mataji, may I?
Somebody? You have sung yesterday, no?
Mataji, may I?
Yes.
Namaste Narasimhaya Praladladayayini Hiranyakashi Vakshaha Shilatankanakhalaye Yatola Singha Paratola Singha Yato Yami Tatola Singha Pahe Nasimha Hridaye Nasimha Nasimha Madam Sharanam Papade Tavakara Kamalavare Nakham Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Kanubringan Keshavadhita Narhariupa Jai Jagadish Hari Jai Jagadish Hari Jai Jagadish Hari Jayo Nrsingadev Jayo Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev Jayo Nrsingadev Jayo Prahlad Nrsinga Jayo Prahlad Nrsinga Jaya Prahlad Nrsinga Jaya Prahlad Nrsinga Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya 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 Prabhupada Patita Pavan Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya 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 Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Hari Bol Narasimha Bhagavan ki Jai.
Okay, I think everybody's academics have started. How are your academics going on?
Good, Mataji.
Yeah, I think you're doing pharmacy, no?
Yes, Mataji, I'm about to finish it.
M-Pharma.
Yeah, project is like almost completed.
What is
By the end of November, we'll finish.
What is the title of the project?
Research work regarding in silico preparations of imidazole derivatives, Mataji.
Okay, okay. Fine, nice. Shramita, you're in 10th standard, I think, no?
No, Mataji. I'm an engineering first year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mataji Sapna is in 10th.
Yeah. Okay, okay. So which stream you have taken, Shramita?
Mechanical engineering, Mataji.
Where is your college located?
IIT Kharagpur, Mataji.
Wow.
Now it is online, Mataji.
Now it is online. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you, Mataji.
Actually, I have seen a series of IIT Kharagpur. No, what is that called?
Oh, yes, Mataji. Alma Mater.
Yeah, Alma Mater. I really liked it. I could relate to my college days.
Oh, I haven't watched it, Mataji.
Very nice, very nice. I think how far it is true, I don't know. But most of the student life, how internal politics will be there, education point and campus selection, the hostel, everything is there. But professional studies will make you a better person. 4 years of education in a college will definitely bring a best person out of you. All the best, Ma, Shramita.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, I think Rachita, your academics?
No, I'm just trying to complete a few certifications to get my final certificates. That's all.
Okay, okay. fine. Yeah, Vaishnavi?
Yeah, Mataji, my online classes from University of Madras, distance education has started.
Mhm.
But they are like limited classes per semester, so it's difficult to manage. And I'll soon start in August, I guess, for BSc in biotechnology as my offline campus mode.
Okay, okay. Fine. So things
Yeah, and
become-
right now I'm pursuing a certificate course in graphic designing and web design.
that's very nice. It's always useful actually.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I like to keep myself busy in many things, so I don't waste time.
It's okay. It's Krishna's mercy. He keeps us
Yeah.
busy in many things. Yeah. The PPT, this time Vaibhav is preparing for upcoming Ekadashi.
I don't know. I'll talk to him and tell you.
Yeah. Okay. Dikshit, which standard are you now?
Mataji, I am in grade 9.
Okay. Still way more. Maybe you're relatively free this year, isn't it?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. Best of luck for your academics and um, this Ekadasi recitation again, I don't know the list wise, but I think we will
Should we make
it.
a substitute list, Mataji?
Yeah, that would be better, you know.
Okay, please everyone give your preferred chapters in the group so I can make the list.
Yeah, you
And I'll
can.
also send a message in the group.
Yeah, I think regarding Excel sheet also, this time Racheta has helped me. It would be of easy for me if somebody gives in an Excel format. You
Okay,
know.
Mataji, I'll try my best to create a Excel sheet because right now it's, my laptop is in a working condition.
Okay. If not, also somebody or the other, if they do it, no, it becomes easy for me to submit to Chirag Prabhuji.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'll try my best.
So
If
prepare.
not, I'll tell Racheta Mataji to make.
Yeah, anybody, any one of you can do it.
Okay.
And prepare a list for upcoming Ekadashi.
Okay.
There shouldn't be any overlap. And make
It's on 26th, right?
yeah,
Okay.
26th or 24th, I think.
24th, Mataji.
Ah,
Oh, okay, okay. I guess I saw 26th June in the form, Mataji.
no. Just a minute.
25th.
It is on June 24th only, Mataji, in
25th.
Vaishnava calendar.
In Vaishnava calendar, it is on 24th.
Okay, Mataji.
Yogini Ekadashi.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll make a poster also, Mataji.
Yeah, I think that we can
We
do.
will be joining from the same ID, no, Mataji?
Same ID. Not,
Yeah, okay.
that also I need to. Oh, Devika Mataji asked me to.
Last time you told me that there would be some change in the ID. That's why.
She told me I need to remind her. I'll just a
Yeah.
minute. I'll post the messages now. Devika Mataji. Devika Mataji. Sorry. Actually, I have my own ID. I can do it on that. I don't know. There are some issues going on in the this thing. Or anything to be discussed?
Mataji, I just wanted to ask you. So this third level is how many weeks are left?
I think 4 more weeks are left. We need to complete the Ishopanishad also, and one more day we have to do it. Any day, if you people are free, means we'll finish out off, no? Evening.
Just like last time we did Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
This Friday we are having Ekadashi. We can't do it on Friday.
Okay.
So
Last time we had Ekadashi on Saturday, no?
yeah. So any 1 day extra, maybe I'm thinking 1 or 2 extra classes will be there, maybe 1 extra week, but we'll be able to complete it. So hardly, I think now we are in 46 chapter, no? 5 more chapters to complete. So if all goes well, by next weekend, next Sunday, we'll be completing NOD, isn't it?
Yeah.
So 3 more weeks are left with us for Ishopanishad. I think.
And it's a small book, no, Mataji? With 11 chapters, I guess.
Not 11, I think. Exactly 18, I think. You have a sloka for that, for every this thing.
Yes, Mataji, we are having 18 mantras.
18, no? Each, I think you people can prepare for that and divide among yourself. 4, how does it go? 8 per 8, 18 divided by 3 per week or 4 per week?
Yeah, we can do that.
I think 2 per day we can do it. At least 5 to 6 per week we can do it, I think, no?
Yes, Mataji.
But Mataji, there are 18 shlokas in the Shri Ishopanishad.
Yeah, I think per week 6 slokas we have to complete.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, I think by 15th week we are completing NOD. 16, 17, 18 will be completing the Ishopanishad. Okay. Probably. If at all we are not able to, then maybe 1 or 2 class extra will take. 18 to 20 weeks is the time limit. I think we are running on time, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay.
Mataji,
Mataji, after this course, whether we'll be having level 4 or Bhakti Sadachar or Bhakti Shastri, what type of course?
Sadachar is after level 1, You will go to Bhakti Shastri.
Mataji, whether there are some certain type of restrictions for Bhakti Shastri that we have to follow regularly in a adequate manner?
Pardon, it will be weekly once.
No, Mataji, he is asking whether there are few restrictions for entering the level 4.
I think there are restrictions for that.
Yeah, Mataji, last time I asked you about the meat eating, no, I have reduced my meat eating thing.
So Krishna will take care of it.
Yeah.
No,
Mataji, I don't have about that problem. I have about whether we have to chant 16 rounds of mantras when we are undergoing Bhakti
Not, I
Shastri.
think 16 is not mandate. I think 8 rounds is something like, even I forgot that. But Dikshit, you have a lot of time. You can do 16 rounds.
No, Mataji, actually, I'm tightly packed with many things, so only I could get only 1 hour. So rather than that, I could not complete anything.
How many rounds you are doing, by the way?
10, Mataji.
Oh, 10 means 16 easily you can do it before going to bed.
No, Mataji, as that 10 itself, I'm just managing in many ways.
Yeah. No issue. Yes, Rachita, please tell me.
Mataji, after this level, so do we get a certificate or something like the last level?
Maybe I just need to check with Devika Mataji.
And are there going to be tests in the next